Hi there, my name is Matt Genuser, and I am truly honored and humbled to be among all of you viewing from home or your office or wherever your personal space may be. And I am overwhelmed at the opportunity to be among all of you today. I'm sure some of you at home have been a part of the Amazing You conference. Maybe this is your first time or you're coming back year after year after year. I mean, why wouldn't you? And some of you may be sitting there thinking, I thought this was a women's conference and that's a guy up there about to give a presentation? Well, you're right, I'm a guy. You got me figured out. But I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about who I am. So as I share with you my story, you kind of understand a little bit more about me. So my name is Matt with one T. People call me Matt, Matty G. My parents can't spell. I only got one T in my name, but that makes me unique, right? I'm a CEO of a company. I am an actor. I'm a singer. I'm a son. I'm a brother. I'm an uncle. I am a dog lover. I have two amazing dogs, two golden retrievers, Bravo and Cohen. I'm a humanitarian. I'm an empath. I am a volunteer. I'm a board member. I'm a personal cheerleader to so many people. I'm a business coach. I'm many things to many people. But I want to share with you who I am for myself and who I've been. I'm vulnerable. I am anxiety-ridden. I'm sad. I'm depressed. I'm broken. I have not been what I need to be for myself, what I am for so many other people. I did not expect to get emotional this quickly, but it's part of the journey as to why I'm here today. I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey back in time to give you a little bit of perspective as to what brought me here. So I'm going to take you back to June 10th of this year, just a few months back, and my birthday was approaching, and I am really weird about birthdays. Like, I don't like the attention. Hi, I'm an actor and a singer. I can perform in front of thousands of people and feel perfectly secure and normal in that environment. But when I have to be totally me and vulnerable and have attention put on me, I freak out. So I go through this every year with my birthday, and as I am embarking on what's going to be my 48th birthday, I'm thinking, okay, what's going to be different this year? What's going to be my mantra? So my mantra is feeling great at 48, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, like this is my year. And as a business coach, I know that we have to put plans in motion and create strategies to keep ourselves accountable and create the success and the outcomes and the deliverables that we deserve, because the intention is important to us. So I coach this way to people all day, every day. So I'm like, I've got to go internal and do the exact same work for myself. So it was June 10th, as I'm thinking about approaching my 48th year, and gosh, I so believe in the universe. I don't know about any of you, but I believe that the universe really gives us clues. And sometimes either we're too busy and living in chaos that we don't hear them, or we're in a place where we feel vulnerable, so we just ignore them. Or sometimes our eyes are so wide open and our ears are so attuned to the sensories around us that we actually pay attention. And this week of June 10th, I was paying attention. And so June 11th, I thought, okay, what's the first plan of action? I've got to get myself emotionally in check and physically in check. And I remember a really great colleague of mine, Dennis, I got to know him a couple of years ago, and he was going through a really hard time in his life. He was going through a divorce, he was overweight, he was unhappy. Fast forward 2 years, like I see him on Facebook and he is running and he is breaking records and he's got a new job and he's posting these motivational events that have fueled him in his life's work and the transformation in his own life. I'm like, that's somebody I need to talk to. So I reached out to Dennis and I'm like, hey, can we get on a Zoom call on this week? So we got on a Zoom call. I'm like, dude, I am so proud of you and impressed of how you've turned your life around. Like, what are some of those key elements that did that for you? And he told me about 3 specific motivational speakers, and I wrote them all down. And the first one was Brene Brown. Now, I'm sure some of you at home are like, oh my God, I love Brene Brown. I had never heard of her. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start with the first one. So I look up Brene Brown later that day and I'm like, okay, I like this chick. She's pretty cool. And I got distracted at work. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to focus on this tomorrow. I'm going to get really intentional and zero in on who this amazing speaker is. Brene Brown truly has transformed the way I'm thinking about myself and has truly helped me understand the roadblocks that I've created for myself. And if you've not followed Brene Brown, I highly recommend it. But her main platform is understanding and living in a place of vulnerability. And vulnerability is one of the most uncomfortable places to live. Hi, I get it. That's me. But she goes on to further explain that vulnerability, that shame is the basis and the cornerstone of where vulnerability lives, of feeling I'm not good enough, smart enough, rich enough, thin enough, talented enough, and I'm failing in different areas of my life, and being afraid and shameful to ask for help or to find that guidance and to get that true north. So every day, for 4 or 5 days, I am listening to every single Brene Brown video that I can find. And it's transformed the way I'm thinking now. So thank you, Dennis, if you're watching this. I'm truly appreciative of that. So the universe told me to get a hold of Dennis, and man, transformative. The very next day, I felt like this tap on the shoulder, like again, the universe was talking to me saying, you haven't talked to your counselor in a while. It's probably wise of you to schedule a counseling appointment. And I don't know why that was just telling me to do that, but I'm like, okay, yeah, it's probably been a couple of months. I should probably get in front of my counselor, talk through some things that I'm feeling. My birthday's coming up. I've got weird issues around that anyway, so I'll make an appointment, which I did. Later that day, again, the universe tapping on my shoulder said, you need to get a hold of Bonnie. You need to get a hold of your beautiful dear friend, Bonnie Miletto. And I've known Bonnie for, I think, 20 years now. So I did. I opened up my iPad, and Bonnie and I usually communicate via instant messenger. And for those of you that know Bonnie, she's an amazing human being. And back in March, I was asked to write a letter of recommendation as to why she should be the recipient of the Distinguished Service Award in Albany. So unfortunately, because of COVID, the event was canceled. And I said, Bonnie, I want you to pretend that we are at your awards banquet and I have the distinct honor to present to you the reasons as to why you're this recipient. So I sent her my tribute to her. And a day later, she sent me this amazing tribute back. And for whatever reason, I didn't respond to her. And I don't know why. Maybe I just was busy or distracted or the dogs were on my lap. I don't know. But I opened up to go message Bonnie. I'm like, hey, I need to get together with you. The universe says I need to spend some time with this amazing soul. And I reread what Bonnie had wrote about me. And I firmly believe I was not meant to receive the message and the words and the intent behind it until that very moment. Okay, so June 10th, 11th, 12th, intention, right? Full intention. June 13th, again, I'm awkward with birthdays, but I'm pushing myself out there. I have a small gathering of close friends over. We have a nice time. Enjoyed my time with my friends. June 15th arrives. It's my birthday. And, I enter my birthday like, okay, it's just another day, yada, yada, yada. But there was a certain level of heaviness that I was experiencing that day. And I don't really know why, it just was there. Got through the work day, went and had a nice dinner with my partner, came home, gifts, etc. The pomp and circumstance of most birthdays. And Tuesday, June 16th came, and it was a hard day. It was a hard day with work, challenges, navigating, COVID, how to protect our people, being that cheerleader and that encourager and that voice of hope for others. And then, more work being put upon me, and I was halfway through the workday and I'm like, gosh, something's gotta give. And later that afternoon, I put on my Brene Brown pants and I sent a letter out to my bosses and said, look, long story short, I'm being vulnerable with you right now. These are the challenges that I'm experiencing. How can we work together to create a win-win? And quite honestly, I have to be reminded that during times of struggle and angst, there's a lot of emotions for a lot of people, but the receipt of my email did not come back to me in the way that I had anticipated. And I came back from going on a walk, and I had shared with my partner my frustration, and 30 minutes later, he shared his frustration and ended our relationship. So again, back in time, June 10th, universe tells me to do this. The 11th, universe says do this. June 12th, universe says to do this. June 15th birthday, June 16th, we break up. Now, please don't judge him. Yeah, it was the day after my birthday, but you know what? Breakups happen, and he is one of the most amazing human beings, one of my best friends. We are navigating this through love, kindness, true care, and respect. So for those of you that know him, we are in an amazing place, so please don't have any ill intent towards him. But again, the universe. So I wake up Wednesday, June 17th, pretty distraught over the events of the evening before. And I go outside with my dogs, and this song popped into my head, this random song, and I don't know why. But I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. An hour later, I have my counseling appointment. I firmly believe the universe was saying, something is coming your way. Your counselor is going to be there for you. I didn't have to make an appointment after it had happened. It was already in alignment for me. Now, my counselor is an amazing human being. And I remember about 5 years ago, she recommended a book to me called Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping. And there's a specific quote in there that still resonates with me. And loosely translated, it says, sometimes what seems to appear as the most cruel and nasty behavior on the part of the people that we love the most, they don't actually do to us, they actually do for us. And I really marinated with that. And a couple of days later, I did go to my partner at the time, and I said, I have to say thank you. The events that have now occurred are really forcing me to go inward and do the work that I need to do for myself and get out of my own way and get into a relationship with me. Whew. I've not been in relationship with me. I've been in relationship with everyone else. So I had a great counseling appointment, and immediately following, the universe had created an opportunity for Bonnie and I to go have lunch. So I drove to meet her downtown, and we had this great spot outside. And I have not seen Bonnie in probably 3 years. Bonnie's that kind of amazing friend where you could go several years without seeing one another, but you just pick right up where you left off, and the love never wavers. It's always there, and that connection is always there. So to see her come around the corner, it was like, yes, I get to get connected with this heart and this soul that I cherish so much. And of course, you know, we have our ancillary highs and how are yous, and she gives me this cute little goodie bag as a treat for my birthday. And, you know, we start chatting, and she's like, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. And as a good friend does, says, are you good? And I'm like, oh, crud. She's on to me already, and it's only been 30 seconds. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Everything's good. And she's like, Maddie, cut the crap. What's going on? And I'm like, Bonnie, this is not a counseling session. This is me spending time with someone that I love and admire. I just want to spend some time and be in your presence. And she's like, cut it out. What's going on? I'm like, oh my God. Okay, Bonnie, I feel lost. I don't know who I am right now. You know, the challenges of life, challenges of COVID, challenges of work. I've lost my voice. I can't even remember the last time I truly felt joy. And I can't even remember the last time I even sang in the car. And I'll never forget Bonnie's face. She looked at me and she goes, what? I said, I can't remember the last time I've even sang in the car. It's probably been 6 months, maybe a year. And she grabs my hand and she says, dear Father, what has happened to my amazing friend inside? I said, I don't know, and I've got to figure that out. And I remember she had asked me, she's like, well, what do you do for yourself every day? Like, how do you start your day? And I'm like, oh, geez, okay. Honesty, if I have to be at work at 8, I'll stay in bed till 7, take a shower, take care of the dogs. I get to Starbucks. I'm in my office by 8:05. Doesn't take me that long. And she says, dear Father, are you kidding me right now? She's like, okay, you've got to find 30 minutes in your day to take care of you. Where is that? And I'm like, when I get home and playing with my phone on Facebook and watching TV. She's like, that's not you time. She's like, this is how I start my day. And I'm going to embarrass her because this is just our relationship. She says, okay, this is how I start my day. I wake up, I drink my water with lemon because it's a diuretic while my coffee is being made. And I spend at least 30 minutes of giving intention to people, like whether it's sending an act of gratitude or reading a passage from a book or listening to the birds outside or watching the snowfall. Like I take 30 minutes to be within myself and set my intention for the day. And she opens up her bag and she puts a book on the table. And it's of course an amazing book, a book that she wrote. And it was the perfect gift for me because it's a 7-day journey of going internal and reflecting and doing work and asking yourself those hard questions that you don't always want to be honest with. And that set the course of my 7 days of finding me again. So we continue through lunch and she asked me, she's like, well, how are you and your partner doing? And then I start crying. Like, well, we broke up last night. And she's like, oh, dear Father, what happened? And so, I kind of shared with her, like I'm sharing with you right now. I was being honest and vulnerable. Like, I've lost my way. I have lost my way. I'm not committing to myself. I'm not the best version of me. And that's the relationship that I need to be in right now. And then this super cute girl walked by and she was wearing this like yellow top and holy jeans and some cute tennis shoes, and she had this great hat on. And Bonnie stopped and goes, girl, honey, you look amazing. I love your outfit. And there was this great little engagement with the two of them. And the guy that was with them said, well, what about me? I got a new hat. And she's like, sir, the hat works for you. And I'm smiling and I'm chuckling. And I said, Bonnie, that used to be me. I would talk to anyone. And I've lost my way. And I shared with her, and I firmly believe this, the greatest education I will ever have in life is the people that I talk to. Whether it's a stranger walking down the street that I get engaged in for a brief moment, a college professor, a childhood friend, a passenger on a plane that you sit beside for 3 hours, a boss, anyone. The encounters that I have with other people are what shape me as a human. And I miss engaging in that part of life. And so we talked a little bit longer and I'll never forget, she says, okay, hang on a second. And you know when people start to talk to themselves, it's one of the cutest things she does. She talks to herself. She looks to the side and she's like, uh-huh. Yep. I can do that. It's my event. Why not? Done. She looks at me square in the eye and goes, Matt, I want you to be one of the speakers at the Amazing You conference. And I'm like, what? She's like, say yes. I want you to be one of the speakers. And I'm like, Bonnie, that is an amazing gift, but no, I can't. It's a women's conference. And she looked at me and she grabbed my hand and she says, baby, not anymore. And I started crying again. I'm completely overwhelmed. Whew. I became completely overwhelmed of the gift that she has now given me to do this work. And she said to me, you're getting your voice back. And this is your platform to do it. So I've been doing this work. I have stayed true to me. I am still filled with many faults. And like anything, we have to work at the things that we need to do to empower ourselves to be who we're meant to be. Since then, when I shared with Bonnie, I'm like, there's all kinds of things that I've been wanting to do for myself that I'm not doing. I want to do another show. I've always wanted to take yoga. Like, how hard is that? But I've always felt uncomfortable or intimidated. Like, I'm too heavy to be doing yoga, or I want to go take a tap class, but for whatever reason, I'm too busy, but I can't take that time. I want to take a trip just by myself and be with myself, but I come up with all these excuses. I want to start losing weight and doing exercise again. And since then, I've been doing yoga. I've been exercising at least 3 times a week. I'm setting boundaries at work. I'm taking time for myself every single day, whether it's 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the middle of the day, 30 minutes at the end of the day, and sometimes all 3. But it's certainly changing the way I view the world and how I view myself. So I finished my lunch with Bonnie and I get into my car to go to my office, and this song that had popped into my head earlier in the morning popped back into my head again. And so I turned that song on in my car, and for the first time, and I can't remember, I sang at the top of my lungs the entire way back to my office. And I've been singing that song every single day since. It is actually a song from a musical called Dear Evan Hansen. I am a huge musical theater nerd, no joke. And in this musical, Dear Evan Hansen, it's about, loosely stated, it's about this kid with severe anxiety, and he sings this song called Waving Through a Window. And I have severe anxiety too, I know a lot of people do. But what resonates for me specifically about this song is the very first 2 lyrics. And the first 2 lyrics say, I've learned to slam on the brakes before I even turned the key. And as I just sit and resonate with those 2 lines, it is everything that I've not allowed myself to do. Yes, I'm gonna get into real estate school and get my real estate license. I slam on the brake. I'm gonna start taking yoga. I slam on the brake. I'm gonna plan a vacation just for me. I slam on the brake. I'm gonna get healthy. I slam on the brake. I'm gonna become the best version of me, and I slam on the brake. So the song continues, I've learned to slam on the brake before I even turn the key, before I make the mistake, before I lead with the worst of me. I've been leading with the worst of me, leading myself with the worst of me. Give them no reason to stare. Keep looking up till they look away, because I've got nothing to share. No, I've got nothing to say. Step out of the sun if you keep getting burned. Step out of the sun because you've learned. On the outside, always looking in, will I ever be more than I've always been? I have gone so internal with these lyrics and really thought about what's important to me and why I deserve it. And it's also making me really think about myself. Since my time with Bonnie, since going back to June 10th, listening to the universe, these things falling in line because the universe knew it was what I was going to be needing, I have now learned to love myself again. I have now begun to fall in love with myself again. I am singing again. I'm 65% done with real estate school. I am taking yoga. I am exercising. I am taking time for me. And I'm also taking time with the right people that I believe deserve my time, if that makes sense. As I mentioned earlier today, I am so many things for so many people. And I'll never forget, a few years ago, someone said, you are the sum of the 5 people that you surround yourself around the most. And you know, it's always funny when someone goes through a breakup or a tragedy, you know, people come to your aid. But I've gone so internal and go, are they really reaching out because they care? Or are they reaching out for a story? Or are they reaching out for gossip? I'm making the decision of who I share the best parts of me with. So for those of you who may be going through similar struggles in your life, in whatever capacity that may be, who are the 5 people that you're surrounding yourself with the most to allow you to soar, to live your truth, to step into your light, to be the person you are meant to be? Gary Keller once said, your life is divided into 2 parts, what matters most and everything else. I'm going to encourage you to focus on what matters most, because everything else will still be there. And that's one of the lessons I'm really working on for myself. So if we go back to when I shared with you where my journey began just a few short months ago, I am in a much different place. And you can be too. It just starts with listening to the universe and paying attention to the cues to walk into who you're meant to be. I still listen to the song every single day. In fact, I started researching this song in particular. Katy Perry even did a video online. She talked about, she went and saw this musical on Broadway. She sat in the audience and she started crying because she had experienced similar anxiety and angst in her own life and recorded her own version of it, which took me down this rabbit hole of this version, this version, and this version. I have a playlist of this song by 8 different artists. I encourage you to look into the song. And the song goes a little bit like this. I've learned to slam on the brake before I even turn the key, before I make the mistake, before I lead with the worst of me. Give them no reason to stare, no slipping up if you slip away, 'cause I've got nothing to share. No, I've got nothing to say. Step out of the sun if you keep getting burned. Step out of the sun because you've learned. On the outside, always looking in, will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping on the glass. I'm waving through a window. Can anybody see? Is anybody waving back at me? I'm waving back at me. And I'm waving at all of you because you're worth it. Find your voice. Be true to who you are. Tell your story.